Dr. Tabo Huntley has a unique blend of experiences in leading, developing, and working within high-performance teams. These experiences, which already span over 18 years, involve roles such as performance director, head coach, lead sprint coach, coach mentor, head of fitness, and talent development manager. However, whilst each role has offered unique insights into the performance domain, success has been underpinned by a single drive to deliver cutting-edge solutions in order to achieve stated performance outcomes. By adopting a position of shared values, Tabo seeks to facilitate environments that allow individuals the freedom to share their expertise, knowledge, and passions so that the team own principles, own the process and the outcomes. Now a senior lecturer teaching on both the undergraduate and postgraduate sport coaching programs at Liverpool John Moores University, Tabo seeks to engage students in deeper learning through the sharing of experiences, values, and expertise in an attempt to encourage students to take ownership of the learning process. Specifically, Tabo leads modules along the lines of strength and conditioning strand and teaches modules containing high performance sport, Paralympic and disability sport, and elite coaching themes. Tabo, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Over to you.
Thank you, Sergio, and the iCoach Kids team for having me on this evening. It's a privilege to be here, and it's been fascinating to see how iCoach Kids has grown over the many years, actually. So thank you very much for inviting me to share with this. So in terms of the presentation, I'm just going to do a bit of an introduction into why we need to support coaches of athletes with disability, particularly in Special Olympics. I want to take you through a methodological approach as to how we went about developing an e-learning course. I'll introduce a couple of the chapters, and then at the end, I just want to have some time for some questions and answers as we move on. So within the EU and the United Nations, and even with International Paralympic Committee, Special Olympics International, all have significant policies that are related to providing people with disability with high quality sporting experiences. And particularly within the Special Olympics, children and young people with intellectual impairment are the least active of the disabled population because they face a whole lot more barriers, not only from non-disabled sport, but also the disability sporting context. And so the inception of Paracoach, which is an Erasmus Plus funded project, which looked to increase the kind of education and learning of coaches in unison with Special Olympics, we came together to kind of think, okay, how do we solve some of these issues by and allow people with disability, or particularly children, to access greater inclusive environments? And we felt that the coaching workforce is crucial to achieving these policy and social aims. And for that to happen, we require a well-educated and skilled workforce. And in reality, we do recognize that there's some coach education out there that's focused on disability, even though there's a paucity or there's a lack of that specific education. We do know that there's something out there that, the parts that is ad hoc. So it's, there's some good practices dotted around the globe, around the EU and around the UK. So our intention with this is to drive make sure there's a connection between policy, education, and practice, and hopefully from practice, education up to policy as well. In terms of methodological approach, we, from an academic perspective, wanted to create a third, what we call a third space. This is where the academic space and the sporting landscape come together. And it's kind of like a hybrid zone where you have multiple people sharing their thoughts, their experiences, their theories around learning. And somehow we have to negotiate that. And it's really important that academic space and the sporting space come together, because in that negotiation, I think that's the place where we can, we believe we've created something that's really special that will be released through this e-learning course. But the point is that, from an academic perspective, we didn't want to design something that was just led by experts, but we wanted to be the facilitators of an incredible organization such as Special Olympics, and their goal to help create an effective learning and engaging environment for coaches of their athletes. So in terms of kind of a procedure, what did we do? And the first part of this process was to create a global workforce audit. Because again, speaking with the likes of the Special Olympics team, of which Jennifer Hansen isn't able to be here, or Fiona Murray isn't here today, but we wanted to look at the workforce audit. So not just say, this is what we think is going to be effective within this global population, but we wanted to see, what were the needs of this particular cohort, and particularly in the Special Olympics context. We wanted to do a needs analysis in terms of, what's their demographics, what's their experience, what's their educational, what's qualifications, what's their knowledge, what's their gaps in knowledge. And so we had somewhere over 275 coaches around the world fill in the online survey. We followed this up with some follow-up interviews to get a more of a richer account of the kind of contextual factors, given that we were spread across the globe. And then what we tried to do is take that, the results and the findings from the workforce survey, and just present that to regional leaders across the 5 continents, athlete leaders, making sure that the athlete voice was represented within this. We had interactions with medical advisors, the fitness team. So again, it was this kind of collaborative process that we were trying to facilitate throughout. And then we went to this creating space, working with the e-learning company to create the script, to review the script, to create the chapters, because it's all very well, the academic team putting together the script, that we needed to work with the e-learning company to say, how do we make this engaging? And what are the things that we need to simplify, and what are the things that we need to expand on? And that was really helpful, actually working with the leaders in Special Olympics International to also talk about, what is the kind of the academic language? How does that translate to a global population? So we did have some points of negotiation about levelness, about terminology, about how do we simplify theory. And then at the same time, from an academic perspective, we wanted to ensure that this course actually promoted learning as well. And then the final phase, which we're coming out of now, is around the refining space, where we're just looking at the platform, looking at how everything flows together, how the jigsaw pieces are coming together, how the assessments run. So, we might have ideas of what an assessment may want to look like, but actually in reality, what does that look like and feel like for the learner as they take part in this particular process? And obviously, we want to kind of highlight any glitches that might be apparent. So what we did is come up with a number of chapters, and that goes from introduction to knowing disability, to looking at inclusion and empowerment, to understanding your participant. We needed to put something around safeguarding and welfare, and importantly, we wanted to give 2 chapters over to coaching practice. What does that really look like when you actually delivered some of this stuff? And that was a really fun aspect. And again, these will all be ready for viewing, if you guys register when we release the course in January. But what I wanted to do was basically look at one of the chapters around knowing disability. And what we found was, if you look at a lot of the research into why people with disability are ostracized, is because around stigma about how disability is perceived. And so it was really important for us to look at knowing disability and seeing how different models can help us ensure that people can be integrated within sport and physical activity. So that was one of the chapters. And then we looked at mission, values, and beliefs, in which we hopefully have a little bit of a video. I don't know if this will it play.
Coaching research often highlights the close relationship between our values and beliefs and our coaching practice. That is, the way we coach. Therefore, if we want to become more effective coaches at creating inclusive and empowering environments, it is important to consider the reasons why we coach, our values, and the ways these values meet the needs of our children with intellectual disabilities. To explore our values, it may be helpful to develop a vision, values, and mission statement. In doing so, it communicates to others the type of environments that we want to create as coaches. Given that children with ID are less likely to participate in sport and physical activity, a well-crafted, clearly communicated vision, value, and mission statement displayed on a website or on leaflets or on pop-up boards may be the first encounter children and their parents have with you and your club.
So that was just a little flavor of our chapter on vision and mission, vision, and values. We have a number of different chapters. Like I said, we just wanted to give you a quick flavor of what that looks like. And the important thing is the essence is around inclusion and empowerment. Not just do we include people, children and young people within our sessions, but actually do we create an environment that allows them to flourish, for them to be empowered to make decisions? Do we look at things like life skills? So that's kind of the essence of the course itself. And in terms of, I don't know why that slide is it. So we are going to launch the course on the 17th of January, so you can register post that. So we're really looking forward to releasing that down the line. But what I wanted to do, I think we've got 2 minutes remaining. Was there any kind of questions around any of the processes or any questions you may have that may relate to what I've presented so far?
Thanks, Tabo. Some fascinating insights there, and again, another organisation really starting to look forward with the different provision of coach development, including future online resources. I wonder, with e-learning becoming a little bit more prominent in coach development, especially in this modern society, the modern situation that we're in, what are the key learnings you've taken away from developing these courses, and what advice would you give to other organisations and federations taking this task on?
Yes, gosh, what we've learned. For me, the important thing is that the e-learning course is just one part of a myriad of ways that a coach can learn. And it's more about trying to present some information and trying to do that in the most engaging way possible. Not just death by PowerPoint, as potentially we sometimes have at universities, but really trying to promote some form of reflexivity. So the way we model the assessments and the way we word the assessments kind of allow coaches to have to really think about what are the things that they've learned through the particular chapter. We've got kind of reflexive pieces. So there's some questions along the way that promotes kind of independent learning. And I think for us, what I'm keen to do is to support this with some form of like workshops, seminars, interactive workshops to maybe take a chapter and then work through that with a group, maybe over time. Because yeah, I mean, they are becoming popular, but they only work for certain types of people, don't they? And coaches will tend to cherry pick what they want to do. So it's trying to be engaging, but also understanding the limitations and what else do you need to put alongside in order to support learning.
And I guess in starting to encourage coaches to be reflexive, what are the kind of key positive impacts on kind of challenging and evolving coaches of athletes with different needs, different values and beliefs about what coaching is?
So how do we promote reflexivity with coaches?
Yeah, and how does that help evolve the values and beliefs of coaches to be more inclusive of athletes with different abilities?
Yeah, okay. I mean, for us, a lot of courses tend to provide some practice experiences, but those practice experiences work at a very kind of superficial level, and that's okay to do a good job in terms of how do I set up my session. Now, those are some of the kind of the coaches who are passionate, who are involved, who want to be there. So what we're trying to do is to also target coaches who may have some form of, let's say, fear or lack of confidence, or they may hold some form of stigma against people with disability. And for us, it's really important. That's where the reflexivity comes in. And what we do is provide a number of critical questions that they can respond to. And in so doing, we're hoping almost lowering any kind of protective mechanism, trying to lower that and say, actually, you know what, this is a really important context to coach in. It's children's human rights to have really good, high quality coaching experiences. And actually, if you do this course and engage with this course, we will take you on a journey. We're not expecting you to be the ready-made coach, and we all make mistakes as coaches. For goodness sake, we do that all the time. So, for us, it's realizing that people are on a journey, and if we can move everyone one step, whatever that looks like, then for me, that's the important thing. I mean, the deep kind of reflexive thought. I think there are particularly individuals who may warm to that quite quickly, and there may be others who might think that's not for me, and we know from coach learning literature that coaches some cherry pick certain types of knowledge, and it takes a little time to get them warmed up, to expand what we would call in sociology the kind of sociological imagination. Do they take on something new and fresh? But I would suggest that comes through relationship and developing relationship. And I think it's something that ICOACHKIDS have done well in terms of, developing a kind of a global movement. So that's what we're trying to kind of emulate with Paracoach and with the work we're doing with Special Olympics International.
Excellent. Thanks, Tabo. That's all the time we have for questions this evening. But I, for one, will certainly be logging on January the 17th with these resources, and I encourage all of our audience to do so. What a great resource to start 2022 with. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.